Our topic is online learning. I'm Claire Massey.
I'm Leah Dobson.
I'm Joanna Morcos.
And I'm Mercer Love.
There are several factors contributing to the growth of online enrollment, including the following. Younger people are choosing non-traditional education to start and advancing in their careers while completing and furthering their education. Severe recession of 2008 has created poor economic situations where people are upgrading or changing their career through online educational or training programs.
Online learning is a form of distance learning or distance education, which has long been a part of the American education system, and it has become the largest sector of distance learning in recent years. Online courses are courses developed entirely over the internet, and hybrid or blended courses are learning over the internet and learning supported by other technologies.
The online method of education can be a highly effective alternative method of education for the students who are matured, self-disciplined, and motivated, well organized, and have a higher degree of time management skills. But it is an inappropriate learning environment for more dependent learners and that have difficulty assuming responsibility required by other online courses.
Only about 33% of prospective online students said that they perceive the quality of online education to be as good as or better than face-to-face education. At the same time, education, as a reason for their reluctance to enroll in online courses, 36% of students surveyed their concern about employers' acceptance of online learning. Varieties of online educational methods have been developed, but the potential students should consider some identifiable factors common to all types before enrolling in any type of course or program. Generally, all these factors are not applicable to every online learning situation, but they do apply to most.
In today's world, technology is used in a variety of ways to make our lives easier. For instance, different forms of transportation allows us to get to places faster, and inventions like the telephone and computer have made communication and accessing information more accessible. With that being said, technology has extremely impacted how students learn and/or how the instructors teach. The principles behind online learning emerged from older practices of distance learning. A great example of this is in 1840, when Isaac Pitman, a very intelligent British professor, taught his shorthand writing class as a distance course. Instead of technology, Pitman used the postal service to communicate all of his information to his students. He mailed all of his assignments to his students, and his students would then mail them back completed and ready for him to grade. Explore Talent, the history of e-learning, acknowledged another example, which is the International Correspondence Schools that was founded in 1888 and based in Pennsylvania. The courses available provided training to immigrants who wanted to become a state mine inspector for coal mining. The individuals in the program were taught via textbooks sent to them through the school. Thus, the idea of learning outside the traditional classroom setting has been around for quite a long time. The last important step that will lead to online learning is the development of advanced technology. Technology started to be invented in the beginning of the 20th century. For instance, Florida National University states that in 1922, the invention of the radio was used as a medium for education. The Pennsylvania State College became the first college to broadcast courses across radio network. Additionally, in 1924, the first testing machine was invented. This machine allowed the students to test themselves without having a teacher physically there to tell them whether their answer was right or wrong. This invention illuminated the idea of learning outside the classroom entirely via technology. Furthermore, Peterson's The History of Online Learning states another important invention that occurred in 1960, which is when the first computer-based program was introduced, known as Plateau. Plateau is abbreviated for Programmed Logic for Automated Teaching Operations. This program was originally created for the University of Illinois. However, other schools in the area also adopted it. The incorporation of old practices of distance learning and advanced technology were the main influences on online learning. Distance learning before the 1900s was not that effective. In my example, both the students and the teacher had to wait for the course work in the mail, which took considerably a long time. However, as technology got underway, many educators saw the benefits of it and how it could be used in an educational way.
Hello, my name is Joanna Morcos, and my topic is about online learning, but through the student's perspective. And it's quite interesting to see that actually 77% of college students that were surveyed were not for online learning. They actually would rather be in person, which was quite surprising since a lot seem to think of online learning as the safest alternative for in-person learning. And the student's perspective on online learning can vary for a number of reasons. And some students might see this as enjoyable for them to have the power to choose their own schedules and be on their own pace in learning, while others might find it difficult to focus and interact with teachers and other students as you are looking through a screen and not necessarily in person. And so there's always differing views about it. Online learning and teaching is generally known to be clearly the safest way of learning. Even before coronavirus, many students would get the flu every year. Actually, every year about 1 in 4 college students would contract the flu, which is interesting. And then it's not just the flu. A lot of serious cases of bacterial pneumonia might follow up after the flu, since it's on its heels kind of thing, which is also something that a lot of students thinking now with COVID is quite concerning, since obviously no one wants to get sick. And it's quite interesting, but then other students might also see it as enjoyable to set their own pace, like I said earlier, and set their own schedule free from the stress of being in a school environment, and they get to choose their environment to be in, actually, to be in their room, maybe go to a library, and that's their preferred method of learning. While others may not see this as such a advantage, but according to the New York Times, there was a student that was surveyed, and he said he was relieved from the stressful environment of school, which is quite interesting. And NPR was also the organization to research about how many students would get sick every year, but from the flu. This was before Corona. But also, like I said, a lot of students may not enjoy online learning. Some students may see this as an opportunity to get some rest. Instead of waking up at 6 a.m. to go to school, they'd wake up at 10 a.m. and they set their own schedules, and it's quite relieving for them. While others, the disconnect may be too much. The ability to focus through a screen is not going to happen as well as it would in person. And like I said, the 77% of college students that said distant learning is much worse for them than in-person classes. That was according to the Axios and College Reactions poll. I got that from Breitbart. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. And some students are just not connecting because they feel invisible, or it might be a number of setbacks that they feel that in-person would automatically solve. I have a quote from Education Weekly that some students are not connecting because they felt invisible while they were in a physical classroom, so they will not be missed through a virtual one. And so that's why some of them might not be showing up. While also another point is that students studying in physical sciences or courses that generally need in-person and hands-on experiences are not going to be able to experience.
The duties of a teacher are neither few nor small. Dorothea Dix. During this shift to online courses and a new mode of education, perhaps the group that is most often neglected when considering the transition from in-person to online learning is the professors of the courses. They now find themselves attempting to completely change the way they teach their courses while navigating an entirely new forum on which to teach them. Online learning has affected teachers in a variety of ways, most predominantly in the involvement of both the students and teachers in the lectures, and the problems many teachers are experiencing with the shift to an online curriculum. The effects of online learning that teachers are experiencing is the shift in the perception of student involvement by a lack of physical presence and the methods in which they teach their materials. Many students find it substantially easier to lose focus during online lectures because of the lack of a physical presence of the teacher. In a New York Times article written by Benedict Carey analyzing the effects of online learning, he states that it requires students to be, quote, self-directed and motivated in their courses because they do not have a teacher directly alongside them. In a scholarly article written by Albert Bandura on the social learning theory in 1977, he wrote that understanding comes in modeling, participation in, and reaction to others. In online courses, many teachers are forced to present information without live discussion with the class. This lack of involvement from the students does not allow teachers to help students internalize the information they are being presented with. This is particularly prevalent in asynchronous classes where students can log on and off at any given moment. Joe Friedoff, Vice President of Michigan Virtual, an online nonprofit institute that studies and offers online courses in a variety of different fields, stated that teachers and students alike do far better in classes when there is a set meeting time. He stated in an interview with the New York Times that, quote, if students have support and a schedule, they tend to do better than just tuning in here or there. Now, there is a plethora of new problems teachers are encountering in the shift to online learning. The integration of new technology into their courses and the lack of interpersonal relationships with their students are two of the most prevalent problems teachers are faced with in the transition to online learning. Now, I can't think of one person who has enjoyed this shift to online learning more than the creator of Zoom, now widely used in classrooms around the country to supplant in-person lectures. This rapid shift has forced teachers to educate themselves with that program and other various online education tools such as WebEx, Canvas, or WebAssign. The Quality Matters program is a program used to help analyze the quality of an online course, and although not currently implemented by James Madison, it was given to teachers as a resource in which they could determine the best way to give a quality online education. Now, the lack of interpersonal relationships between the teachers and their students has been at the forefront of the difficulties in the switch to virtual learning. In J.R. Young's book, Rethinking the Role of a Professor in an Age of High-Tech Tools, he affirms my previous statement by saying, quote, the most frequent condemnation of e-learning, online learning, is the complete lack of vital personal interactions. Interpersonal relationships between teachers and students make classes more enjoyable for both the teachers and students, and make students feel more comfortable with asking for help or collaboration from a teacher. Now, in short, the shift to online learning teachers have found themselves trying to find new ways to get their students actively involved in the learning of materials and facing problems like new technologies and the lack of personal relationships with students. Teachers have always been at the forefront of our educational experience, And although the pandemic has forced a widespread change in the way we learn, teachers will continue to lead their students to the pursuit of knowledge and understanding of the world around us.
Hello, I'm Claire Massey, and I will next be talking about the pros or advantages of online learning. The first advantage is that there is a lot more flexibility. This meaning that students have more time to do other things like working at a job, making money, or doing chores around the house, or just anything else they need to be doing. 10 to 12 minutes invested in planning one's day will save at least 2 hours of wasted time throughout the day. From the source, Keith and Karina, May 19th, 2019. So having these online classes gives one more time to do so. It also adds more time for people to do what they love, like hobbies, that they normally wouldn't have nearly as much time to pursue if doing in-person classes. The next pro is self-paced learning. With everything being online, the students can work at their own pace and complete things when they want to, as long as they get it done before the deadline. They can also go back and rewatch the video lectures as many times as they want and pause the videos as many times as they want to take notes. This is very beneficial because in-person learning, some teachers say the information way too fast, and the students cannot keep up with their notes. In addition to that, some students may be too shy to raise their hand and ask the teacher to repeat things, or just ask questions, which puts them at a disadvantage. But with online learning, as I already stated, they can pause the video and keep up with their notes. And if they have any questions, they can email them to the teacher without having to raise their hand and talk to in front of the entire class, which could be scary. The third advantage is better time management. With all the other things going on in a person's life, it is very hard to keep up with school, along with all of those other things. Who else could agree? 46% of stress reported amongst U.S. employees is caused by an overwhelming workload. G Day on July 28th, 2020. And by having online classes, the students don't have to go to a physical classroom at specific times of the day. Instead, the students can make their own schedules for when they want to do their work or listen to their classes, which can cause way less stress. This is actually very beneficial because it teaches students to have time management and to prioritize the things that they need to get done, because there is not a specific person telling them that they need to go to this class at this specific time. It is only themselves. Time management skills are also very necessary throughout one's life, and especially when they get older and have to do a job as well. So it's very beneficial to start learning and obtaining these skills now at a younger age. Another advantage that online learning brings is a wider global perspective. Miller Kelsey, August 19, 2020. With having classes online, people from anywhere in the US or even across the country can still take these classes and get the education that they want or need. It makes it a lot easier and more attainable, especially if you're an out-of-state college student who lives 8+ hours away from the actual university. This way, they can still stay in their hometown and still take the classes at the college that they want to without having to go so far away from home. And some people may not even be able to transport that far, so it gives them an opportunity to still be able to get a good college education that they may want. Another advantage of online learning provides technical skills. Compared to in-person learning, obviously, one has to obtain a knowledge of technology to be able to navigate throughout their course and be able to complete all the work online. Without having online learning, one may never even know how to do the stuff that online learning people know how to do, such as working with multiple softwares, figuring out how to save or export files, knowing how to join meetings, and how to access homework assignments and submit them. In the world we are living in today, technology is very prominent, and as some may say, taking over the world. Throughout the years, so many things have transferred to online, and there are so many new things being made each day where people can do stuff online rather than having to do it in person. Also, many jobs are high in technology skills and require the workers to know how to work technology. So with having online classes, the students are already at an advantage for the future. Another huge advantage of online learning is that it is cheaper. Going to a college or university in person is a grand amount of money that a lot of people cannot afford. Online learning gives those people who cannot afford it an opportunity to still get a college education and degree. Online learning also allows people to have customized learning environment. That means by doing the online courses, the student can go anywhere they please with their computer to take the class or do homework, like some may go to.
Cons of online learning. Studies show that online learning provides a worse education compared to face-to-face classes. With online learning, there's found to be a lack of interpersonal communication between professors and students. Studies in 2002 showed that students perform significantly worse on online tests and classes compared to traditional in-person classes. Half of the online students spent less than 3 hours a week in class, while half of the students in the traditional format attended every class, resulting in a minimum of 3 hours per week. Moving classes from in-person to all online creates larger classes as there's more space in the class, minimizing one-on-one contacts with the professors about exams, assignments, labs, etc. Social interaction is a huge part of the whole university experience. This is the time and place to make new lifelong friends and learn crucial social skills. Additionally, it makes it difficult to participate in classroom discussions and gain new perspectives. Even as online schools are becoming more mainstream, classes are still not available in all fields. You may be able to find plenty of virtual courses related to business, history, economics, and languages. However, you may find it much more difficult to find courses in chemistry, biology, engineering, and other similar subjects. Hands-on laboratory learning is a mandatory requirement in all of these courses, and this is not yet possible through online learning. If your preferred course requires hands-on learning, this may not be an option for that student. The extra flexibility and lack of accountability leaves much room for students to procrastinate. Many students struggle to stay motivated and stay on track with studying and completing their assignments. Self-discipline, time management, and organization are crucial skills for students taking online classes. Online classes have come a long way since they first started, with learning happening in multimedia formats. However, the unfavorable reputation they gained during their years still persists. Many organizations still judge applicants with an online education as compared to students graduating from traditional universities. It is changing, but unfortunately very slowly. It will be a while for online education to be considered conventional education. This could be the biggest drawback of online classes for a career for a hardworking student. There are both advantages and disadvantages to studying online. Whether this is the better option for each individual student depends on their personality and learning style, as well as the field they wish to major in. With both positive and negative outlooks of online learning, we've discussed as a group that online learning is a good alternative. Ideally, our preferred learning style would be an in-person class, but due to COVID-19, the way James Madison has moved to online learning has been an easy transition. With lower prices for classes and more flexibility to complete assignments and understand the material taught by professors and teachers, it gives a wide range of progression among students. However, online learning makes it harder for students to create individual time with the professor and could provide a worse education. Students aren't held accountable for showing up to class late or watching recorded lectures, leading to students being lazy to do it. Overall, online classes isn't the most ideal method of learning, but has been manageable with our time away from James Madison.